Shedeur Sanders may have been technically inactive before the Browns versus Packers game, but let's be real, he was the most active and active player on that field. While the cameras were following Joe Flacco's warm-up jogs and Myles Garrett's pre-snap flexes, the Shedeur, full pads, game face, laces tight, helmet in hand. He wasn't just out there, he was in it. Every throw during warm-ups, crisp. Every step, intentional. Every look in his eyes, locked. The hell, in.
If you're into the real story and all the messy twists they don't show on highlight reels, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're sticking around to see how this Browns QB chaos plays out, you should definitely be subscribed.
And if you were watching closely, if you weren't too distracted by the Browns' fresh new uniforms or the endless sideline chatter, then you saw what everyone in the locker room already knows. This kid is preparing for something big, even if his name isn't on the active roster yet. Because Shedeur isn't playing by the NFL's usual rookie waiting game rules. He's not sulking in sweats. He's not giving quiet, quit energy. He's not just getting used to the speed of the league. He's standing there on the sideline, looking like the future already arrived. It's just not on the stat sheet yet. And that's what turns heads. Not hype, not headlines. Presence. Let's talk about it. This Packers versus Browns matchup had layers. A classic midseason tension game. Veteran quarterback Joe Flacco, age 40, still lacing them up like it's 2012, versus a hungry, relentless Browns defense with Myles Garrett foaming at the mouth. Flacco, calm under pressure, until the pressure started throwing 270-pound linemen at him like dodgeballs. You could feel it coming. Every snap, every blitz, every shaky throw. You started to wonder, how much longer can the Browns afford to keep trusting Flacco to hold it down before someone younger, quicker, more dynamic gets the call? And while that question echoed across the fan base, Shedeur was already answering it with his body language. He didn't need to say a word. The warm-up routine spoke volumes. His reps were clean, his movement decisive. You could see him visualizing plays, locking in mentally like it was his game to win. That's not just staying ready. That's staying prepared for inevitability. And that's what separates potential from proof. Because here's the thing most fans overlook. Being inactive doesn't mean you're irrelevant. In a league like the NFL, where a single twisted ankle, one bad quarter, or a slow offensive start can flip a depth chart like a coin, your shot can come out of nowhere. And when it does, you either step into it, like you've been preparing in silence, or you fall flat because you were just waiting instead of working. Guess which one Shedeur's doing? He's working like his debut could come tomorrow. And frankly, it should. Because for all the respect we can give Flacco, and look, Super Bowl MVP, veteran grit, all that, it's becoming hard to ignore the cracks. The hesitation in the pocket, the missed timing on slant routes, the deep throws that used to connect, but now fall just a few steps too slow. And with this Browns defense doing heavy lifting every week, the margin for error on offense is razor thin. You need a quarterback who can extend a play, not just manage it. You need energy, urgency, youth. And if you're a fan still on the fence, let's just revisit what Shedeur brings to the table. He's mobile. He's accurate. He's been raised around greatness. Literally mentored by a Hall of Famer who also happens to be his father. He's media savvy but humble, confident without the ego. And most importantly, he cares. You can see in the way he warms up like he's already the starter. In the way he takes reps during pre-game that most inactives wouldn't even bother with. In the way he throws every ball like someone is watching. Because guess what? Someone is. Teammates, coaches, executives, opposing scouts, fans. We're all watching. And Shedeur knows it. But here's the twist. He's not putting on a show. He's just doing what he's always done. Shedeur's mindset has been consistent since college. It's that Deion Sanders philosophy drilled into him early. If you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. And that line, it's not just motivational fluff. It's the thesis of Shedeur's entire approach to football right now. Because while the rest of the league keeps looking for the next flashy QB savior, someone with a viral throw and 1 million Instagram followers, Shedeur's doing something way more dangerous. He's learning the league. He's learning the speed, the rhythm, the reads. He's getting to know the offense from every angle, without the pressure of having to carry it yet. He's absorbing it all, quietly, efficiently, patiently. And when the Browns decide to roll the dice, whether out of need or belief, they're not throwing an untested wild card. They're unleashing a quarterback who's been slowly building the perfect hand. And with a defense like this, all you need is a little offensive spark. Just imagine this. The Browns are down by 3. Fourth quarter. Flacco's gassed. The O-line's collapsing. The fans are restless. And suddenly, the sideline shifts. A helmet goes on. A visor reflects the stadium lights. Shedeur steps in. That crowd? Electric. Not because it's a debut, but because they've been waiting for it. And when it happens, he won't be nervous. He'll be ready because he's been ready. Every warm-up, every throw, every game he wasn't even supposed to be in. That's not theatrics. That's timing. And it's starting to feel like that timing is almost up. So here's the real question. Are the Browns going to wait until the pressure forces them to make the change? Or are they going to lean into the momentum that's already bubbling under the surface? Because the fans feel it. The locker room feels it. And Shedeur? He's been manifesting it. Not with tweets or interviews, but with the grind you don't see on camera. And that's the kind of player who doesn't just make a debut. He makes a statement. So, what do you think? Is it time for the Browns to let Shedeur take the reins? Is Joe Flacco still the guy, or are we witnessing a slow, silent passing of the torch? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Who should start next week? And while you're at it, rate those new Browns uniforms. Clean, classic, or not feeling it. And if you're into these moments, the quiet build-ups, the locker room tension, the players who know they're one snap away from changing the narrative, then you already know what to do. Subscribe, because this story, it's just getting started. And Shedeur Sanders, he's not just warming up anymore. He's circling. Shedeur didn't play. He didn't suit up as QB2. He didn't make headlines for some heroic fourth-quarter comeback. But he did something way more subtle and way more dangerous. He made people look twice. And in the NFL, that's where it starts. It's never the snap. It's never the throw. It's the shift. That moment when a guy who isn't supposed to matter, yet suddenly does. Let's be honest. Most backups don't get this kind of buzz while still holding a clipboard. They don't trend for warm-ups. They don't have people dissecting their sideline energy like it's game tape. But Shedeur's not your average backup. He's not here to blend in. He's here to build something. And that something, you can feel it coming. Look, there's a reason he's the one people are still talking about after the game, even when he wasn't on the field. It's not about flash or family name anymore. This isn't just Deion's kid. This isn't Colorado hype, repackaged in Cleveland brown and orange. This is a quarterback being molded in real time, while the lights are off, while the playbook is in hand, while the pressure isn't on him yet. Let's talk about why that matters. Shedeur's not just watching Flacco. He's studying him. He's watching how he handles the huddle, how he reads the pressure, how he moves in the pocket, or doesn't, how the defense reacts to him, how the game feels from the sideline. And every single one of those mental reps, that's compound interest. It's the kind of behind-the-scenes work that doesn't go viral until it does. Because when Shedeur eventually takes that field and people start saying, wow, he looks like he's been doing this, you'll already know why he has. Just not in the way the league typically credits. And that's the thing. The NFL worships stats. It loves numbers. It loves winners, passers, and producers. But it forgets about the guys building their readiness in silence. It forgets that the best games are often won before they ever start. And Shedeur is winning the hell out of the quiet parts. You know what else he's doing? He's shifting the Browns' narrative, little by little. This is a franchise that's been chasing stability at quarterback since the flip phone era. A team that's been haunted by draft busts, short-lived experiments, and QBs who couldn't carry the pressure or the playbook. But now, they've got someone who isn't forcing the spotlight. He's earning it. And that changes everything. Because when you see a player embrace the long road, when he walks with purpose but never rushes, You start to believe he might just be the one to break the cycle. And the fans are feeling it. You can see it online, in the forums, in the comments under every clip of him warming up. It's not just, let the kid play, anymore. It's he's different. And that's not just about talent. It's about how he moves. Let's talk body language for a second. In the NFL, it's an unspoken language all its own. A guy hangs his head, the team feels it. A QB shrinks after a pick, everyone feels that tension. But Shedeur, every second he was visible during that Packers game, he moved like the moment was already his. Back straight, shoulders relaxed, eyes sharp, footwork clean, glove snaps, elbow angles. Nothing wasted. This wasn't just a guy getting loose before kickoff. This was intentional body rehearsal. Because Shedeur is not visualizing a future that might happen. He's preparing for a future he's already mentally committed to. And you can't coach that. You can't fake that. You either live the lifestyle of readiness or you don't. And Shedeur, he lives it. Fully, quietly, consistently. Which brings us back to Joe Flacco. Now, respect to the vet. The man's 40 years old and still standing in the pocket, while guys half his age try to introduce his face to the turf. He's calm. He's poised. He's experienced. But you know what experience doesn't give you? Juice. It doesn't give you fresh legs on a rollout. It doesn't let you escape a collapsing pocket and flick a 40-yard rope off your back foot. It doesn't give you electricity when a game is dying on offense. And eventually, experience alone won't be enough. So the Browns, they've got a choice coming. Do they keep relying on safe and steady? Or do they take the hand off the brakes and unleash a QB who's been studying, preparing, and warming up like every snap counts? Because at this point, the only thing Shedeur hasn't done is take that first live snap. Everything else, he's nailed. The mindset, the mechanics, the leadership without a mic, the work when no one's watching. He's already the guy. He's just waiting for the game plan to catch up. And when it does, don't expect hesitation. Don't expect nerves. Expect someone who's been walking toward this moment with tunnel vision. Expect poise. Expect fire. Expect a QB who doesn't just want it. He's already lived it in his head 100 times. Because that's what makes Shedeur different. He doesn't ask for permission to be great. He just prepares like greatness is inevitable. And you know what? It kind of is. Shedeur Sanders was officially listed as inactive. That means no pads? Nope. He was dressed. No throws? Nope. He was out there early, warming up like it was his game. Same uniform. Same laces. Same composure. But here's the wild part. In a game where he didn't even participate, he still managed to dominate the narrative. Why? Because when you look like you belong, before they even tell you that you do, people take notice. That's exactly what Shedeur did. He didn't talk his way into relevance. He didn't tweet his way into the spotlight. He didn't need some manufactured controversy or a highlight reel of trick throws in an empty gym. He just showed up composed, focused, and ready, and the silence was louder than anything else on the field. Let's stop pretending that sideline presence isn't real. Coaches know it. Players feel it. The backup quarterback with the right energy can elevate a team without taking a single snap. He becomes that pressure point, that invisible catalyst. Because when the offense is sputtering and Flacco's backpedaling into another sack, every sideline glance at Shedeur becomes a possibility. And that's what's really happening here. Shedeur isn't the starter, but he's becoming the option, not because someone's giving him a shot, but because he's taking ownership of the moment before the moment arrives. Now let's break that down. This Browns team is dangerous. Let's not gloss over that. The defense is stacked. Myles Garrett is a game wrecker. The secondary is suffocating. They're contenders. If the offense can stay consistent. But consistency requires more than safe throws and managing the clock. You need adaptability, creativity, juice. Joe Flacco, for all his history and football IQ, is playing on borrowed time. He's smart but slow. He's poised but predictable. Defenses have 15 years of tape on him. They know what's coming. There's no surprise element, no X factor. And that's where Shedeur becomes more than just a backup. he becomes a strategic weapon. Young quarterbacks can be chaotic, unscripted, raw, but they also bring that edge, that unpredictability that forces defenses to hesitate. And if there's one thing Shedeur has proven, even from the sideline, he's not raw. He's refined. His footwork is tight. His mechanics are polished. His poise? Unshakable. Even under the crushing weight of constant scrutiny, of comparisons to his dad, to other rookies, to veterans ahead of him, he remains exactly the same, calm, prepared, and locked in. So here's the question the Browns have to start asking. Why are we keeping our most mentally prepared player on the sideline? Because Shedeur isn't just getting ready. He's been ready. You don't just wake up one morning with that level of professionalism. That comes from years of preparation, of playing under pressure, of being coached relentlessly by a man who built his entire Hall of Fame career on showing up loud, prepared, and fearless. And now Shedeur has taken that energy and made it quiet, but even more dangerous. It's not flash. It's focus. He's not here to prove anything to anyone. He's here to be ready when his moment comes, and to make that moment undeniable. Now, let's look at this from the team's perspective. What's the risk in giving Shedeur a shot? You've got a defense that can buy time, a fan base that's already leaning into the energy, an offense that's begging for a reset button, not a rebuild, just a breath of fresh air. Flacco's not going to carry you through a shootout. Let's just be honest. He's a game manager on borrowed snaps. But Shedeur, he might not have the reps yet, but he's got the vision, the command, the fire, and more importantly, he's got nothing to lose. That makes him dangerous. And dangerous is exactly what the Browns need. So what's the holdup? Fear? Caution? Politics? Maybe. But that kind of hesitation can cost you a season. Because eventually, this Browns defense is going to need an offense that can capitalize, not just hold the line. And when that realization hits, it won't be a slow decision. It'll be a snap judgment. We need a spark now moment. And guess who'll be warmed up? Guess who's been visualizing the moment? Guess who's been acting like QB1 long before anyone gave him the title? Shedeur. Sanders. It'll feel like a debut. But in his mind, he's already in the third quarter. Because Shedeur is not trying to earn the spot with words. He's trying to be undeniable through behavior, through body language, through routine, through respect from the guys on the field who see him grinding when no one's watching. And those guys, they talk. They say things like, he carries himself different. He knows the playbook inside and out. He's got that look in his eye. And when players believe in a guy, before he ever starts a game, that's not buzz. That's proof. Now, let's be clear. No one's saying he should leapfrog the process. He's not asking for that. And that's the beauty of what's happening here. Shedeur isn't rushing the opportunity. He's just making it harder to ignore every week. And that's exactly how you earn trust in a league that forgets your name the second you fumble a snap. He's not in the headlines for drama. He's not begging for snaps. He's not talking a big game. He's preparing for one. And the second that shot comes, it's not going to be, let's see how he does. It's going to be, oh, he's been ready. If you're still here, still reading, still locked in, you're not just casually interested in Shedeur Sanders. You're watching the build. You're feeling that tension, that sense that something big is about to happen. And everyone who wasn't paying attention is going to act surprised when it does. But you saw it coming. You saw it in the way Shedeur warmed up like the cameras were rolling. Even though they weren't. You saw it in the way he stood on the sideline, not as a backup, but as a shadow starter. Calm, ready, fully engaged. Not because someone told him to be, but because that's just who he is. And that's the thing about Shedeur. This isn't performance. It's not branding. It's not optics. It's discipline. Let's be real. This league is full of talent. Plenty of guys have the arm strength. Plenty of guys can make the throws. But discipline? That's rare. That's the difference between a guy who gets a shot and a guy who owns it. And Shedeur's ownership mentality? It's already written all over his preparation. You saw it against the Packers. A game where he wasn't expected to do anything. Where his job on paper was simply to observe. But Shedeur doesn't observe. He absorbs. He steps into the role before it's handed to him. He wears the pressure before the jersey number is officially called. He studies the game like he's going in on the next series. Because in his mind, he is. And that's not ego. That's not delusion. That's the kind of focus you only see in athletes who've been forged by legacy, but not relying on it. Because yes, he's Deion's son. Yes, he's been under the lights since high school. Yes, he had the spotlight at Colorado. But he's not here to ride coattails. He's here to carve his own lane. And right now, that lane runs straight through Cleveland's quarterback room. Let's talk about that room for a second, because it's crowded, but not exactly competitive. You got Joe Flacco, old school, slow-footed, high IQ. He's a stopgap, the break in case of emergency guy. He brings stability. He brings experience. But let's be honest, he also brings a ceiling. A hard one. He's not your future. He's not your long-term answer. He's a Band-Aid on a position that's bleeding potential. Then there's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Electric in college. Flashes of brilliance. But not quite there. Not yet. And then, quietly, patiently, relentlessly, there's Shedeur, the guy who's been practicing like the job's already his. The guy who doesn't need hype to get attention. Because presence is louder than noise. And right now, his presence is starting to get hard to ignore. Because what do you do when your starting quarterback gets rattled? When he's playing cautious? When the defense is doing everything and the offense can't capitalize? You look down that sideline and you see a 21-year-old in full gear, throwing ropes and warm-ups, headset on, eyes locked on the playbook, not blinking. That's not just a backup. That's your next move. And let's not pretend this isn't brewing already. The fans feel it. You know it. We know it. The media is sniffing around. It's subtle now, just warm-up clips and sideline shots, but it's growing. One more stale offensive performance. One more close loss. One more moment where the game slips away in the fourth quarter. The call for Shedeur won't just be a whisper. It'll be a roar. And when it comes, he won't walk into the huddle like a rookie. He'll walk in like he's been there for years. Because mentally, he has. This is what makes his story so dangerous, so compelling, so inevitable. He's not skipping steps. He's mastering the ones in front of him. He's learning how to lead before being asked to. He's commanding respect without needing the title. He's showing every young athlete out there what it means to move with purpose, even when your time hasn't come yet. Because in Shedeur's world, the time isn't given. It's taken. And when he finally gets that green light, when the helmet goes on, when the headset comes off, and the play gets radioed into him, you're not going to see nerves. You're going to see rehearsal paying off. You're going to see the footwork he's drilled 1,000 times in silence. You're going to see the pocket presence built from studying veterans like Flacco and defenses like the one led by Myles Garrett, who he's been throwing against in practice. You're going to see someone who didn't just learn the system. He lived it. And maybe the most terrifying part, he hasn't shown us anything yet. He's kept it all in reserve. Every read, every rollout, every sidearm flick, every deep shot. He hasn't needed to prove anything. But the minute he's allowed to, it's on. So let's land this plane. This moment, it's bigger than a warm-up, bigger than a clip, bigger than one game. It's a signal that something's coming, that someone's coming. That Shedeur Sanders isn't here to wait his turn. He's here to earn it in silence and explode when it matters most. Because he's not just warming up anymore. He's charging up. And when he's finally unleashed, don't act shocked. Just remember, you were watching when no one else took it seriously. You saw the spark before the ignition. You saw the rookie with the eyes of a veteran, the poise of a starter, the hunger of a guy who's already visualized his victory. So stay tuned. Because Shedeur Sanders' moment is closer than you think. And when it hits, it won't be a surprise. It'll be the next chapter in a story that's been writing itself since day one. Now it's your turn. Do you believe Shedeur should get his chance before the season ends? Or is the Browns coaching staff playing it smart by keeping him in the oven just a little longer? Drop a comment. Let's get into it. And don't forget to subscribe for more breakdowns, slow burns, breakout moments, and the football stories you won't find on a highlight reel. Because the best moments, they don't come with a warning. They come with a warm-up.